He was a charmer. Bob Ludlum was really a charming man.
One of the great things about Robert Ludlum was he took you all over the world in some considerable detail, because he never wrote about a place he didn't spend time in.
I'm primarily, I think, an entertainer. I am from the theater. I respect and need an audience. And from that point of view, I like to think of myself as a storyteller.
Robert Ludlum was 40 when his first novel was published. He had an entire career in the theater and doing commercials and so forth. It had nothing to do with writing. And so that I think is somewhat remarkable and noteworthy.
Bob Ludlum, you know, started as an actor. And I think I first met Bob in a little production downtown at the Henry Street Settlement one night after a show. I think the end of the last show, and I think I was looking to say goodbye to him. And he said, "This is it." He said, "I can't make a living here." He said, I don't know what the hell to do with the rest of my life." He says, "I want to be in theater, I want to act, I want to be a producer." And he said, "It's just I can't support my family."
I'm married to a lovely lady who has a talent for putting up with the absurd, which is me. And I said, maybe I can really write for a living. She looked at me, I think with a kind of jaundiced eye, and said, "Well, you're 40 now. You're either going to try it, or else you're going to regret it for the rest of your life."
One day I was in Doubledays with my wife, and there was a man over, I saw a lot of people over in the corner, and it was Bob Ludlum signing books.
He never spent any time in the trenches, working his way up from the mid-list to the top. He was a star almost out of the gate.
When I came along a number of years ago, a lot of people had been writing, especially in fiction, very self-indulgent kind of writing. The storytelling went out for the personal angst, and I do feel that storytelling was ready to come back, and I'm a storyteller.
One of the reasons his books were so successful was because he got the details right. What a very serious researcher he was. He was a voluminous reader, and then he physically went and spent time in every location.
I do know that he did do a lot of research. He was in Europe a lot. But Bob's writing was so extraordinarily colorful and so exotic.
And he wrote in longhand with a No. 2 pencil. He didn't even use a manual typewriter. He wrote everything in longhand. He did it the old-fashioned way. You know, writers of popular fiction are much more important than they're given credit for. It's not just that they entertain, but they reflect their times. For example, the Cold War was still on.
The Russian people, I never felt, were the quintessential American villain.
And even the terrorism of the time. Terrorism was functional. That is, you took hostages, you did certain kinds of acts to either get attention or to get prisoners back by taking hostages. It was not nearly as violent as it is now, and it was much more political.
I loathe fanaticism. I think fanaticism is the most dangerous thing that we live with. And whenever and wherever I can attack it, I will.
Jason Bourne, to me, comes out of a post-World War II noir film experience, because amnesia and questions of identity and so forth were very pronounced right after the Second World War. You had returning veterans who were shell-shocked. Robert Ludlum, was a Marine. He knew people like this. The difficulties that Jason Bourne, the character, has of trying to figure out who he is, what he had done, why he's where he is, are all very interesting questions. It's a great technique for a film, and it's a great technique in a novel.
Everything he learned as an actor, which was not appreciated as it might have been, he made it work for him as a writer.
It was almost like he was writing for another medium, and it's very theatrical. You can see why Hollywood would embrace him. I was very pleased with the film. I thought he would be. That it kept the essence of Jason Bourne. That was the most important thing.
Bob would recognize that they had done a good job, and he appreciated craftsmanship.
I am not now, nor have I ever been, a member of the intelligence community. I have not.
He gave a lot of pleasure to a lot of people for a long period of time, and he still is.
He was simply a warm man who loved living, loved his life, and loved people. You knew you were going to have a good time when you spent an evening with Bob Ludlum.